Welcome back. Some weeks just kind of drift by, and then there are weeks that feel like a real turning point. This was definitely one of those weeks. It was just jam-packed with these huge global and domestic events that honestly are going to have ripple effects for months, maybe even years to come. So let's break it all down.
I mean, seriously, think about it. We had an escalating war in the Middle East. We saw the Indian market hit historic lows, and at the same time, some really fundamental policies were shifting right here at home. Yeah, this last week, not your average week at all. So we're going to get into exactly what went down and, more importantly, why it all matters.
And look, we've got to start with the one thing that really cast a shadow over everything else, those escalating tensions between the United States and Iran.
Now, the key thing to remember here is that this isn't something that just popped up overnight. We're actually heading into the second month of this conflict, and as the last few days have made crystal clear, things are definitely heating up, not cooling down.
So this is where it gets really interesting, because the stories we're hearing from each side are worlds apart. In a big national address, U.S. President Donald Trump basically painted this picture of a totally crushed Iranian military. He said their navy's gone, their air force is in ruins, their missile capabilities have been wiped out. But then, almost immediately, Iran fires back, claiming they'd actually shot down 2 American military jets. It's a classic information war, playing out right alongside the real one.
And those shockwaves, well, they didn't just stay in the Middle East. Not at all. They were felt immediately and forcefully right here in India's economy. And that's where our story heads next.
Just look at that number. In the middle of all this global chaos, the Indian Rupee crossed the 95 mark against the US dollar for the very first time. It hit an all-time low of 95.11. This isn't just a small dip, you guys. This is a huge psychological and financial line being crossed. And what does that mean for you? Well, it means imported stuff, everything from your fuel to your phone, just got a whole lot more expensive.
And it wasn't just the rupee. The stock market took an absolute beating. And get this, it was a short 3-day trading week. In just those 3 days, the BSE Sensex plummeted by almost 14%, and the NSE Nifty fell 13%. I mean, those are just staggering losses for such a short amount of time.
And here's the thing you have to understand. This wasn't just one freak bad week. No, this was the 6th straight week of losses. So this isn't some random blip on the radar. It points to a really sustained downturn. And that conflict in the Middle East, well, that was like pouring gasoline on an already burning fire.
Okay, so while pretty much everyone was glued to their trading screens and watching the international news, some truly massive foundational changes were kicking off right here in India. So let's pivot and take a look at the big domestic shifts that also made this week so remarkable.
First up, the 2027 census. The first phase officially started on April 1st, and this isn't just any old census. It's India's 16th, sure, but it's also the first ever to be done digitally. That's a huge deal. This first part of it is all about mapping out housing and what assets people have, and it's the first step in creating what will be the most detailed digital snapshot of our country ever.
And on that very same day, April 1st, another 60-year-old system got a complete overhaul. The new Income Tax Act officially came into effect, totally replacing a law that's been around since 1961. The whole point? To make it simpler, to streamline it, to make it way more focused on the taxpayer. This is a fundamental rewrite of the financial relationship between all of us and the government.
And finally, just to show you that change was happening at literally every level, we also saw a big shakeup in the corporate world. IndiGo brought in a new CEO, William Walsh. And this guy is a real heavy hitter. He used to run British Airways and the International Air Transport Association. He's all set to take over in August, kicking off a whole new chapter for the airline.
So, when you put it all together, it brings us to the big question, right? You've got a global conflict boiling over, a market in absolute turmoil, and fundamental domestic systems being rewritten, all at the same time. Are we just looking at a really, really bumpy week? Or are we witnessing the chaotic, turbulent beginning of a whole new normal? That's the thought I'll leave you with.